How do you go about negotiating terms of business with a client?
I'll tell you a couple of stories. So I suppose we could approach it as what mistakes do people make, and I've made a mistake in the past where I've had a brief conversation about terms, and I've said to them, this is the key area of the terms, and these are the things you should be aware of. And if someone's really keen on finding a person, they'll be dismissive potentially at first. The way that one went down was, this guy was like, yeah, that's fine. It was a fucking long process to actually find the person. They interviewed probably 3 times, like long interviews as well. Met his family, went out for beers, and then when it came to the pointy end of it, he was like, all right, so what can we do? What sort of fee are you going to hit me with here? And I told him the fee, and then he said, come on Josh, and wanted to negotiate after I'd done the work. That's like asking a builder to build your house and then coming back and saying, what can we realistically work out for this? No mate. So long story short, I thought he was a decent guy the whole way through the dealings, and he turned out to be a but it was to the point where I'd done the work, so it was my fault for getting in that situation, but I even agreed to knock a bunch of money off the bill for him, and he still wasn't happy. So that's the first lesson, I suppose, is have the conversation up front and make sure that at the time that you are engaged to do the work, everyone's on the same page. And that comes back to being assertive in the way that you communicate and just having your facts straight up front. I suppose the other lesson would be don't have imposter syndrome and try to negotiate yourself down before anyone's even objected to it. So again, similar scenario previously, I started working to a set of terms of business, and I'm lucky enough that I have the confidence to just go in with it and not feel like I'm ripping someone off because it's expensive. That's the rate, that's the fee, and if it doesn't work, then fine, that's no hard feelings, but potentially this business arrangement won't work. But I would see people constantly going into the terms of business discussion for the first time with a client and saying, hey, this is the standard terms of business, we work at 18%, but I'm happy to work at 14% for you. And it's like, you fucking joking me? Why would you say that? At least wait for them to come back and say, oh, that's a bit expensive, we work with other recruiters at this price. And even then I would say don't immediately drop your pants for them. It's one of those things that if you're steadfast, you may end up just getting exactly what you want. If you have a good enough explanation as to how you can provide value to that client, then why should you not get what you're asking for? So that's my 2 cents.